Hello, I'm Jenny Luddington. I'm the Deputy Officer for the Disabilities team. I'm also the liaison for the South East. I'm joined today by Jason Slowe and Laura Slowe, who are two of my very good friends and who founded the Folkestone Pagan Circle. One of the things we do in the Folkestone Pagan Circle is run red and white tents. Now, some of you will be familiar with these, some of you not so much. So I'm going to start off by asking Jason, what's a white tent?
Well, a white tent, it's obviously the red tent is a group for women to be with other women. The white tent is a group for men to be with other men. We meet once a month here in my house, which is a nice location to meet. And various different people come. We talk about various different things.
Yeah, white tent movements are quite new, aren't they?
Quite new, yeah. They're not really well known to the public. We're trying to kind of get the word out there at the minute. The red tent's much more kind of publicised in the pagan communities, but the white tents, there's a bit of a stigma still surrounding them about men getting together and discussing their feelings as well. But a stigma in society about that, which we're trying to combat.
Right, so turning to Laura, the red tent, a little bit more well known in the pagan communities and other communities, because one of the things is you don't have to be pagan to go to a red tent. It's for people of any denomination or none. It's basically a place where women can get together to be women, to talk about issues that affect women, and to have kind of a sense of community and sistership. So what is your understanding of the red tent movement, and why did you start a red tent in Folkestone?
Well, the modern red tent movement is based off of the book The Red Tent by, I can't remember her name, I think it's Anita Diamet. Basically, in places gone by and years gone by, women would be sent or would gather in tents while they were menstruating or pregnant or about to give birth, just to deal with those time periods, and also to have a place to talk about all the stuff that you can't always talk about in a mixed group. The reason I wanted to start a red tent in Folkestone was because there wasn't one here, and because it's a good place to just chill out and do whatever.
So before you set up your red tent, had you experienced a red tent in another place, or had you just read about them?
No, I'd been to some of the red tents in Glastonbury, and obviously reading online, and I thought that would be a nice thing to have here, which was a little bit closer than Canterbury or Maidstone or Ashford.
And one of the things about red tents is, although there is sort of guidelines on the internet of formats that could run, each red tent is its own red tent, and they will do the things and activities that that group of women would like to engage and do. So no two will be exactly the same. So turning back again to Jason, having never been in a white tent because I'm of the lady variety, what happens in a white tent? What sort of things do you get up to?
Right, well, at our white tent, because obviously with there being no real kind of centralised movement for the white tents, there's no real guidelines on what we do. So at our white tent, we start off with a short opening prayer to the male aspect of God and to our male ancestors. And then we go around each person and we have a quick check-in, see how people are doing. That's a 5-minute time for people to share whatever's going on in their life since the last meeting. It's not a time for people, back and forth trying to fix issues. It's just sharing and listening. And after that, we usually have one or two pre-arranged topics we talk about. One of the topics we addressed recently was objectification of women in Western society, and usually we get some very interesting discussions, very interesting back and forth, seeing kind of the different viewpoints that people have from the different walks of life. And quite often we kind of, at the next one, we'll talk a little bit about kind of how that's affected us in our day-to-day life.
Right, it's fantastic. And there's a lot of similarity in what Jace has described in the white tent as to what we do in the red tent. We quite often also have a craft element. Yep. One of the projects that we've been making recently is vagina-shaped bunting, because it is a red tent and sometimes you've got to just live the stereotype.
Yes.
So we've got some lovely bunting. I'll see if I can find some photos of that and put them up in the comment section below. But what other sort of things do we do in the red tent?
Well, there's discussion topics. It can just be sitting and checking in with people, catching up. Just sometimes you just need to sit and talk rather than do stuff. But, you know, as Jen said, every red tent is different. Some red tents, people come and just curl up and sleep in the corner. It's whatever you need for that time period.
Yeah, and I think that's quite important. It's about what you need in that space at that time. Sometimes you go there and you do want to talk. Quite often we'll start off our group with a share, as we call it, and we'll talk about what was happening that day up to that moment that brought us back into the red tent. And I think quite often, I don't know if it is the same for guys, but I think quite often women feel very much that we're in a role caring for other people. We're either wives or we're mothers, or we take on a lot of the emotional care of people in our workplaces and our home lives. So to have a space where all that caring for other people can kind of be stripped away and you can have your own needs met is one of the real benefits of spending time with your own gender. And, you know, I'm, as you heard in my last talk at the last online festival, I would consider myself to be a very sociable pagan. I like to spend time with guys, I like to spend time with girls, but I think there is something particularly special about spending time with your own gender, where some of the societal pressures are removed because you're not having to worry about what other people say. So what about you, Jace? What do you think is the benefit of spending time with your own gender?
I think with regards to men, quite often one of the phrases that gets used is we have to wear a mask in day-to-day society, and the space for white tents is we can take off those masks and just be ourselves with other men, and the relationships you forge with those men, because this is obviously it's a space where it's 100% confidentiality. Anything in personal revelations or personal stories you share goes no further than that circle of men, and it's a very loving, very trusting space, and it's not something I'd ever experienced before.
And what about you, Laura? What do you think is the benefits of having a single-sex group?
I think it's very similar to the same as with the white tent, you know, having a confidential circle. Having a group of people who can relate to the feelings and emotions and life situations that you're going through. And also, you know, especially if you don't have a lot of close friends of the same gender, it is a space to be able to just be, you know, and talk about things like child rearing and periods, and, you know, sex, sexual health, and things like that, which you can't always raise with other circles of people. So I think there is benefit for that. As you know, there's a social and an emotional holding, which is important.
And I think another thing that I've noticed within red tent gatherings is quite often our peer groups are people who are the same age as us, Whereas in a red tent, you might get women who are much, much younger than you and women who are much, much older than you. So you can really benefit from a breadth of women experience. And I would imagine that it's the same for guys. Now, we've talked about spending time with women and times with men, but I think one of the things that's really important to bring up about red and white tents is about inclusivity, because I don't think, because they're single gender places, that they should ever be used as places that exclude. You get quite a few groups that are very much not entitled to be in a red or white tent, and I think we all feel quite strongly that that's not the case.
No, for myself personally, I don't believe that having any kind of gender identity issues, or being pre or post-operative transsexual should be a barrier to joining a group. You know, I mean, I can't talk for all people. I know that there are lots of groups out there that believe that if you have not been biologically born a woman, you should not go to a red tent, or you know, that if you've not been biologically born a man, that you shouldn't go to men's groups. But I think that we need to move more towards a more open and non-divided community as pagans, and that you know, just because someone has or is going through sexual reassignment surgery does not mean that they're not the person that they are inside. So we would never turn away someone who was going through any kind of reassignment surgery or process, or even who identified as non-binary, because it's how, you know, it's how you're identifying at that time that I think brings you to a space. And yeah, there might be some issues that come up that you can't physically relate to, but I think emotionally you can still relate to having a cycle, to being a parent, or to being a carer. But as I said, I can't talk for everybody, because I know that there are lots of people that don't agree.
Yeah, I mean, I thought from the very beginning, starting the white tent, I addressed this issue with myself. I made a decision that anyone who identifies as male, whether just for that day, and sometimes flip back and forth, or whether they're born a woman and are becoming male or have become assigned male, if they feel that they are a male, then they are male, and they are welcome in my male space. I don't think it's for me to decide whether someone is male or female. Only that person knows their true gender.
And you know, it's a lot. You know, gender is a social construct to a great degree anyway. So, you know, if you are worried about that, you know, do talk to the people that run the groups. But I really truly hope that this is something that, as a society, we become more embracing of and more inclusive of. If you would like any more information, I'm going to turn to Laura. Where's the best place to find information about red tents?
The internet is brilliant. There are lots of books as well. Lots of books with red tent resources. Obviously, if you're a bit more interested in the novel, then read The Red Tent. But website-wise, there's Red Tent Directory, and Molly at Bridget's Grove has a really good book on red tent resources. But yes, Google red tents and something will pop up.
Laura's also got a huge list of resources that she's going to email over to me, and I'm going to pop in the description box below. Now, Jace, I know that white tents, it's a little bit harder. Have you found any resources on your way?
There is a book called A Circle of Men, which was published many moons ago, which does talk about male groups, but not in this sense. What I am planning on doing is starting some kind of resource place where people can go and find out kind of, you know, guidelines maybe through a white tent, register so that people can find them. Like they've got the red tent directory now, maybe we need a white tent directory, you know. And so yeah, I mean we can put in the description of the video any kind of contact details or create an email address that people can email if they want to start up a group.
Right, well thank you so much. Thank you for listening to us today. I hope you have a fantastic Beltane celebration. I hope you've enjoyed hearing about our intense relationships, and I will speak to you soon. Thank you very much. Bye bye.